The Milwaukee Brewers have scored just one run in the 3 losses on this homestand, 1-3 on this 10-gamer, and the offense has just been dreadful. Are they missing a heart of the order guy like Adames was last year? No one's stepping up in that role. We'll get to that coming up next here on Locked On Brewers.
You are Locked On Brewers, your daily Milwaukee Brewers podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Willy Adames had so many big moments with the Milwaukee Brewers last year, right? The king of the 3-run home run. He was always in the middle of it. Always in the middle of it. And I'm not saying the Brewers should have resigned him. He's struggling in San Francisco. But last year, I'm talking about last year's team, he came up big. No one's doing that this year. Hey, everybody, Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers. Good to have you along here on a late Monday night, Tuesday morning. And this episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Monarch Money, use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com. You'll get 50% off your first year. Yeah, I'm not saying the Brewers should have resigned him. Obviously, he's having a terrible year in San Francisco. But in Milwaukee, what he did do last year is provided a lot of big moments. I mean, you could argue he was an MVP, definitely the MVP of the team, but an MVP candidate. Him and Churio were the two guys who came up with magic moments after magic moments. And when they lost him out of the lineup, the Brewers never replaced him. They never went out and said, well, we're losing Adames. Who's going to be our next guy to step up? You know who they replaced him with? Oliver Dunn over at third base. That's who they thought was going to be filling in. Basically, that's who they replaced him with because they moved Ortiz over to shortstop from third. So Adames is struggling in San Francisco, but he wasn't last year, and he was producing and coming up with big hits, big home runs, flipping games around. And the Brewers just don't have that guy. They don't have that guy right now. They don't have that guy at all. And I don't know if some of these heart of the order guys don't start stepping it up. Could be a long season. And I don't mean to scare anybody by that, but you need your big boppers in the middle of your lineup. You need your big boppers in the middle of the lineup to produce for you. And right now they are not. By the way, did I introduce myself? Chuck Freeman, host of Locked On Brewers, longtime sportscaster here in the state of Wisconsin, proud host, going to my 3rd year of Locked On Brewers. But yeah, Contreras, heart of the order guy, 244. I feel like every time we talk about Contreras, we have to, and he had the lone RBI in Monday night, we have to put a little asterisk on it because he's got the broken hand. Yelich, well, he did have a nice run there for a little bit. He's sitting on 233. Still need more from him. I know he had that hot week where he's player of the week and he batted 500. But none of these guys, Hoskins, the heart of the order guy. Yeah, he's hit, was it 260 or so? Your guys who are in the 3, 4, 5, and into the 6 range, and Frelick is into that category, but I don't look at Frelick as a guy who I'm counting on to drive in 100 runs or 90 or 80. He's not. I look at him as a guy like Terang, 2 guys who are going to get on base and let these guys like Contreras, Yelich, and Hoskins drive in those runs. The middle of the order guys are not doing it. And you ask, oh, how about Jackson Chourio? I'm not counting on Jackson Chourio to be that type of guy just yet. He's batting 254, and he's got double-digit home runs and all that, but I'm still looking at it into his 2nd year, and I don't want to have to rely on a kid who just turned 21 years old. But these other veterans, your veteran sluggers in the middle of your lineup, Contreras, Yelich, and Hoskins, those guys have got to produce to win games. Yelich produces, the Brewers win on that 8-game winning streak, right? They went on that 8-game winning streak. They were rolling. They were rolling with Yelich rolling like that. Okay, he was playing, we don't need to hit it. Well, we'd love to have him hit 500, but don't need him hit 500, but still, you had him producing in the middle of that lineup, and the Brewers lack that guy right now. They do. But that's where they miss the Willy Adames of last year. Yeah, they were never going to pay him the amount of money San Francisco, who might be regretting it at this point. He's playing some nice defense, but he's hitting below 200, and it's just been futile. I saw him the other night, was watching the Giants, late night TV on the MLB package, just whiffing, just looking terrible at the plate. I don't know if Willie's lost a little of his mojo or whatever going to San Francisco, some of the pressure getting to him, having to, be one of the key cogs on that team that has high expectations. I don't know. But here in Milwaukee, he fit right in, and he was great. At least it was last year. 2 years ago, maybe not so much, but last year, yes. In a contract year, Willie delivered when he had to. But they went out and they never replaced Willy Adames. But they're counting on some of these other guys to produce, and they're not doing it. And the Brewers are lucky to be 3 games over the 500 mark. And for the most part, actually, lucky the Cubs are in a little bit of a slide by their standards. They lost again to the Phillies. Well, they lost to the Phillies, but they lost again. They've lost a couple of games in a row. Council's been ejected in the last 2 games, but we'll get more on that here in a little bit. So, with that said, with how bad this offense has been as of late, they said 1-3 in the homestand, 1 run in the 3 losses. They struck out 15 times on Monday night, 11 of those at the hands of Chris Sale. Now, are the Brewers just simply running in a great pitching too with the Padres, what they brought in here this weekend? All right. And then Chris Sale, guy's a Cy Young Award winner. He went 18-3 last year, and he's off to a darn good start. ERA, his ERA is what? I wrote that down somewhere here. 2.79 his ERA is. He struck out 11. It was funny to hear Murph at the press conference after the game, and I was at the game, covering the game tonight, and hearing the press conference afterwards, he was asked about Sale, and he basically said about, Sale able to stay out there and grind through and get stronger and be the man of 99 pitches. I don't know if he was sending a message maybe to his own pitching staff that, hey, guys, man, 5 innings and 80 pitches isn't doing it, or 90 pitches. Somehow, Sale, 99 pitches, he's coming out there for the 8th inning. Now, you have a leadoff walk or a leadoff base hit, but the point is, Sale kind of went old school in the Milwaukee Brewers, pitch into the 8th inning. When's the last time we had a Brewer do that? Okay. And again, when the Brewers falter, it's not because of their pitching staff. They lost 7-1, but how many times do they lose a game where they're basically blown out? I mean, you look at the Brewers are basically in every game, but they got, by their standards, they got blown out. They ran into a tough pitcher for Chris Sale, but over the weekend, the 2 losses, both winnable games, losing 1-0 and 2-0 to the Dodgers. Both winnable games, and they ran into good pitching. But 15 Ks against Chris Sale. Is it Chris Sale? Brewers approach? I know people are calling for the hitting coaches and all that. And I have to feel if this continues at this rate, would there be a change with the hitting coaches? I like to think I don't like putting the blame on the pitching coaches. All right. I put it at the feet of the general manager, Matt Arnold, who didn't do enough to fortify this team. Sure, let's fire the pitching coaches because, I did not make this a championship team, and I'm not saying they're not, but I basically am, right? I mean, you look at that team. Man, you watch them play sometimes and you think, man, how is this team not where the Pirates are? Just how futile they can be offensively. 15 Ks. The Brewers have this inane ability to look really, really bad sometimes. And in 3 games on this homestand, they've looked terrible. Friday, Sunday, and on Monday night. I'm hoping they turn it around against good old Grant Holmes of the Braves on Friday night. As for the Brewers starter, Aaron Savali gave up a 2-run blast, or gave up a solo blast to Acuna. And then DL Hall comes in, lefty against lefty, and he gives up a 2-run blast to Olsen. And that unties the game. DL Hall was asked after the game about that. He said, I learned a lesson. I came in soft. And Olsen, great hitter, all-star, tagged DL Hall. Lefty against lefty, and first pitch, he was ambushed. Hall was. And Olsen hit him for the home run. And Hall says, I came in there soft. Coming out of the bullpen, I got to come out stronger than that. Okay, lesson learned for a young guy. DL Hall pitched pretty well after that. Grant Anderson, later in the game, gave up a 2-run home run, threw 42 pitches. I saw a tweet from Jack Stern, and I think he's going to be right on this. Grant Anderson could be sent down. I have a feeling he's going to get sent down. 42 pitches, ineffective, gave up a 2-run home run. He pitched well for a little bit of a stretch there, but did not look good, I feel, on Monday night. Let's see what they do here. But, the Grant Andersons of the world, we seem to be kind of overconfident and rely on. He was good there for a while. Yeah, Daz Cameron batting in the 5th spot. Daz in that 5th spot once again. I hate to lay it at his feet, but I mean, and the lefty was on the hill, Sale, but we have this inane infatuation, just unbelievable infatuation of putting in a guy who really has not had much of a major league career. Daz Cameron's hitting 200. Yeah, he's had 1 home run. He's got 36 at-bats. When we put this guy in the lineup, when I say we, the Brewers, when this guy's in the lineup, not like he's batting 8th or 9th, we put him right in the 5th spot right away. We put him right in the 5th spot. Heart of the order. See, when I'm mentioning my heart of the order, guys, why is Daz Cameron in the heart of the order right there? Why is Cameron in the heart of the order? I would rather see Durbin in the heart of the order, right? I'd rather see Durbin in the heart of the order at this point, even though Durbin took it 0 for 3. But Daz Cameron, he did get a hit, but man, I don't know. Daz Cameron, feel like 36 at bats. I feel like he's like in the everyday lineup almost. Don't you feel like that? You look at the lineup. Oh, there's Daz Cameron. Is he 8th or 9th? No, they got him right in the power spot, 5th spot in the order. Just seems weird. And those are the kind of guys we're winning at. Nothing against Daz Cameron, but those are the guys we're trying to win with here. Those are the guys we're trying to catch the Cubs with. The Daz Camerons of the world. But yeah, we just had that bizarre, and this happened with Council too, to put some of these guys in when they play in big time spots. Andrew Monasterio last week leading off. I mean, what? I just don't get it. I know we like to play the lefty righty things, and I was talking on ESPN Las Cross earlier today. John Papadopoulos told me that he read a stat about Frelick on how well he's hitting against lefties, and I've said that. And Frelick did play against the lefty tonight. Didn't get a hit, but yeah, play Frelick against the lefty. Play Terang against the lefty. A couple of weeks ago, we sat both of those guys on Memorial Day. I forget who was pitching, but we sat both of those guys because a lefty was on the hill. No, play him against lefties. Hit against lefties. Play him. And he was in the lineup on Friday night. Frelick, Terang, Churio. Those guys want them in the everyday lineup, no matter what. I don't care who's pitching. Frelick, Terang, Churio, every day. Keep them in the lineup. Disappointing loss. Thought they'd bounce back, maybe. Well, they tried to make a 1-0 lead work out. That's the way sometimes the Brewers mode is the, rest on a 1-0 lead. Got an early RBI single from Will Contreras. And that was it. All right. Went a little long with this first segment. We come back. A celebrity was at the game. NFL player. We'll look at the division race and look ahead to Tuesday's matchup, and I'll see if the Brewers can get this guy. We'll come right back after this. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Supplyhouse.com, great sponsor here of Locked On Brewers. Man, for those of you guys who make this country turn every day, plumbing, HVAC, electrical work, Supply House, the reliable way to order products online. Easy to use website packed with helpful resources. The latest product information helps you get the job done right. Like the several guys in my neighborhood who are up at the crack of dawn getting it done. Plumbing, HVAC, electrical work. 200,000 parts from over 400 of the top brands, and you'll find exactly what you need delivered fast from coast to coast. And if you need help with an order, Supply House, they got right there a real person ready to help you out on the phone line. And you trade pros out there, you're looking for that extra edge, join their free Trade Master program. Exclusive perks, dedicated phone line, free shipping, discounts on every order. Thousands of skilled professionals already taking advantage, and now it's your turn. Go to supplyhouse.com/TM and join the Trade Master program today. Start ordering plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies with just a few clicks. Use that promo code SH5. You'll get 5% off your first order. That's supplyhouse.com, supplyhouse.com. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. By the way, our podcast, you get it on Google, Spotify, Apple, wherever you download your podcast. We're the #1 Brewers podcast on the internet because of you great Brewer fans out there. And if you're already listening us on the audio platform, go to Locked On Brewers on our YouTube page, trying to get the 5,000 subscribers. Go to YouTube, search Locked On Brewers, hit the subscribe button, hit the bell. That alerts you every time we drop an episode here on Locked On Brewers. Arian Foster was at the game, the former Houston running back. Just a random athlete showing up at the game tonight. Arian Foster says he's a Brewers fan. Now, of course, the Yankees, the Mets, the Cubs, and Dodgers, and all teams like that are going to have their, guys who have no connection to the city of Milwaukee as sports fans. Rarely do you get somebody like a standout athlete or even an athlete in general from a different city who likes the Milwaukee Brewers. I mean, Sheryl Crow, we found out when the Bucks were making their 2021 run that Sheryl Crow was a huge Milwaukee Bucks fan. Weird, because when I say weird, because you don't expect celebrities to like one of the smallest markets in America. So Arian Foster says he likes the Brewers. He's never been here before. He came to town, took in the Brewer game. He's had a jersey, threw out the first pitch, and first time in Milwaukee. Says he's intrigued. He loves the logo, and that's why he became a Brewers fan. So, yeah, Arian Foster. Hey, and that bandwagon, it's always open for anybody willing to jump on the Brewers bandwagon. Absolutely. The Brewers, they said earlier in the podcast, the Brewers have not taken advantage of the Cubs. And the Cubs right now, 14 games over the 500 mark. They're 40-26. They're 5-5 in their last 10. St. Louis, who lost on Monday night, they stay 4 games out. Milwaukee, I feel like they've been at 5 games out for the last week or so, right? Just can't take advantage of this. Cannot take advantage. They've fallen 3.5 behind the wild card. The wild card, they were down to a half a game there for a while. But right now, Milwaukee's 5.5 out. Cincinnati was up to like 9.5. They're 6.5 out. The Reds have won 4 in a row. Doug Russell, who was my guest on Friday's show from 97.3 The Game, when I mentioned the wild card, he nearly blew a gasket. So why do you look at the wild card so far this early in the season? In other words, he was optimistic of them catching the Brewers. If you're optimistic of catching the Brewers, anybody, Doug or anybody else, you got to win these kind of games. You can't be going 1-3 to start a homestand. You need to start cutting into that 5. You don't want that 5.5 lead because the Cubs are going to get warm again, and you don't want to slide back. You got to get a few games over the 500 mark. They're 3 games over. There were many as 5 games over. You got to get the 10 games over 500 and go from there. And I know this is a tough part of the schedule. If you look at it, the Brewers, they had the easy part of their schedule early in the season. The tough part of their schedule. They're playing the Padres, who are obviously a wild card team competing for a division title in the National League West. They're facing the Braves. Braves are much better than their record indicates. And that's what I was saying yesterday on yesterday's podcast. This is a team I don't want to face. 14 and they had lost 14 of their last 17. He came in here, they came in here, and they look like the Braves of the last few years. Albies, Acuna, they got some Olsen, they got some talent on that team. Don't fool yourself. Yeah, the Braves are 9 games under the 500 mark after that win, but that's a real good team. Wouldn't be surprised if they went on a nice little run here, because losing 14 of 17 and 7 in a row, really uncharacteristic of them. And they got a guy at the top of the rotation with Sale, we saw Monday night, is great. So Brewers need to start stringing some more wins together again. Since that 8-game winning streak, okay, this homestand, you had been playing well at home. You had a record of 18-10 at home going into this homestand, and now you're 1-3 on this current little stand here. But yeah, the Cubs are opening up the door a little bit right now. And I know it's June, but I watch the division race every day. All right, when we come back, we'll talk about, I'll look ahead to Tuesday's matchup, another night game at FanDuel. We'll get to that coming up next. Chuck Freeman here on Locked On Brewers. Monarch Money. You wonder where all your money's going to. Go to Monarch Money, your personal CFO. Maybe you're like us. You spend too much money eating out. Did it again today on the way to the game. Stopped at a fast food place. Monarch Money says no, no, no. Then it's up to you what you do. They're your personal CFO. It's just not a budgeting app. Complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, all your investments, all your spending in one place. Stop just managing your money and start building wealth. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. And when you use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB at monarchmoney.com, you're going to get 50% off your first year. That's a start right there. monarchmoney.com. Use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB. You get half off the first year. Instead of juggling multiple apps, use the Monarch to check your finances, track your spending, make some long-term plans. Whether you're a single or you're with a partner, hey, they're your complete financial command center. Monarch Money will help you. And again, 50% off your first year. Can't beat that. Use that promo code LOCKEDONMLB. And they're your personal CFO. They're going to help you manage your money. That is Monarch Money. And down the stretch we come here on Locked On Brewers. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day. Quinn Priester. Well, we won't have DL Hall. We won't have that Hall-Priester combination. You know, we all love our Hall and Oates. In this case, it's been Hall-Priester. Hall as the opener, Priester finishing up and, going a few more innings. Well, Hall is probably not going to be doing this. Not opening, not pitching on Monday or on Tuesday, because he pitched 3 innings on Monday night. So I would think that Priester is out of the Hall-Priester combination that has worked well for the Brewers in the last 2 games. Grant Holmes on the hill for Atlanta, and a chance to he's not a bad pitcher. I was looking at his game log here. Yeah, I mean, their staff is not all that bad, the Braves. Again, I look at it and I'm like wondering, how are they 9-10 games under the 500 mark? 25,000 fans showed up at AmFam Field on a Monday night at AmFam Field. The summer of fun. Yeah, they were doing their usual stuff on the scoreboard here and contests and all that, and you name it, trying to distract us from a 7-1 loss. But I thought it was great again. That just shows you, Mark Attanasio, don't take it for granted that 25K are going to be showing up on a Monday night if you start losing. Okay? You've built up some equity the last couple of years with winning division titles, because some people in the city of Milwaukee and the state of Wisconsin, a lot of fun things to do in this summer of fun. A lot of different options. Summerfest is coming up. There's a lot of fun things. Don't be taking advantage or taking for granted 25,000 showing up on Monday night. Speaking of summer of fun, Straw Hat Night I saw coming up on Saturday. Straw Hat Night. You'll see them all on eBay, I'm sure, by Saturday night. just like those cribbage boards they gave away a couple of Saturday nights. Give something unique away, it'll make you forget about the loss. Except for here on Locked On Brewers, man. We're not that way. We think about these losses, and we want to get our team back into the postseason again. 3 games over the 500 mark. Got to get the offense rolling back on Tuesday night. And Grant Holmes, hopefully, they can tag him early and often give Quinn Priester a little bit of a cushion. And let's get a nice little go and away win on Tuesday to even up the series with the Braves. So I just worry the Braves getting into town here. They had 3 home runs on Monday night. Hopefully they're not starting to turn things around after losing 14 of 17. That's going to do it. Thanks for everybody joining me late night, early morning on a Tuesday. Chuck Freeman, Locked On Brewers. Thank you for making us your first listen to every day here on Locked On Brewers, part of Locked On Podcast Network. We are your team every day.